Machst meine Stimme lauter, Alter.
Okay, this video is about how I got kicked off the David Icke Forums. And I got kicked off, let's see, it was around, I joined up around 2012 of December. And then I got kicked off around June of 2015. Yeah, that's about right. But, well, yeah, I got kicked off because I kept talking about sex with the aliens, you know, with the reptilians. And so the moderator, well, at first he was called Zeba or something like that, and then all the moderators, they started putting stupid words to their names, like Mighty Zeba. So now he's like Mighty Zeba, with no telling what he is now. But, yeah, so I got kicked off because I kept talking about, well, that's all they do. I mean, that's all they like. That's their thing. The reptilians like sex. And, not direct sex. Well, the vicious ones, of course. But the non-vicious ones, they don't do direct sex in most cases. They do sex indirect. Indirect, but directly. Okay, so anyway, I kept talking about my stories about having sex with the reptilian alien. And he would send me personal messages, you know, be like, nobody wants to hear your stories like that. Surprisingly, I don't know why it took so long to kick me off, but it took quite a while because it was months and months and months, you know, that he would send me those messages. But, you know, months apart and stuff. So anyway, it took them a while to kick me off, but finally he kicked me off somehow. And it says that I'm banned for life. Which I don't really care anyway, because I don't want to get back on there anyway. Most of those people were totally unenlightened. Most of them were just like, you know, interested in the Illuminati. Or, you know, they were enlightened a little bit, like maybe about chemicals in the food. You know, kind of like I was back, you know, more than 10 years ago. Well, actually, I knew about that in my mid-20s. But you know, I mean, I wasn't illuminated at all back then, but I knew a little bit, you know, like chemical in the foods, and I knew that the medical system was a scam. So, I mean, that's what you get on the David Icke forums. There's very few people that are truly enlightened on there. You can tell by the comments people make. You can just tell, but there were a few people that really were enlightened. Like, they see the Matrix, they see all that bullshit, how everybody's in a trance, how all those stupid Hollywood actors and actresses are in a freaking trance and mind controlled. Oh yeah, I mean, they see all that. There were a few that were enlightened, but very few were enlightened. And even David Icke is enlightened about a couple of things that I just became enlightened to in the last year or whatever. But yeah, so I got kicked off of there because biased and bigoted moderators. Yeah, and they don't like for reptilian humans, of course, to dog humans. Reptilian human hybrids to talk to dog humans, of course. So they're bigoted about reptilian human hybrids because Maxine definitely was one. She was the only one that I know of that actually was. Maxine and myself, she definitely freaking was. I think she may have, I don't know, she was a little, I don't think she was dark, but a little darker than me. I mean, I'm not dark, but she wasn't dark, but just maybe not quite of the light like I am. But yeah, I like Maxine, she was cool. But then Maxine told me that well, anyway, Maxine did a lot of human bashing, and so did I. And so, naturally, that's not, you know, that's not cool with the David Icke forums. I don't think she ever got kicked off, but then she told me that they started to charge $5 a month, which, why didn't they do that back when they first started, which I think was 2007 or 2008. But yeah, so now they're starting to get greedy, so I don't know what will happen now when they kick people off, because they're not going to get their $5 a month, they kick people off. But, yeah, so now they charge $5 a month. I doubt I'd pay that much anyway. I like making my own videos anyway. I should have been doing that all along, instead of dicking around with the David Icke forums. But, yeah, so they're bigoted, biased, and greedy. But yeah, it's kind of funny because people would be like, I don't think David Icke expected for, you know, for people to get on here and bash humans. Well, they bash reptilians, they bash reptilian aliens, and most of them freaking rock, man. They have so many abilities, they give me so much fun. But see, they're bigoted and biased about the reptiles, about the reptile aliens. Yeah, so, but another thing, yeah, because see, I became enlightened about how everything's freaking psychological operation, but I didn't become enlightened about that till several months before I got kicked off. And it was just so funny, all those people, they just like, on the David Icke forums, they're like so stupid, they really think all that shit really happened, like Ferguson event, and it's like, how fucking stupid can you be? I mean, these forums should be for truly enlightened people, but like I say, most of those people were not. They just kept thinking all that shit was real, and like Ferguson really happened, when that fucking Brown never even existed. That was just Michael Brown, whatever his name was. That never existed. That name, or that person. It's kind of obvious. I mean, all this shit is psychological operation. Even on local levels, they do this shit. I have no doubt in that there's a psychological operation that they did, and I know they used that picture before, that fake picture of the fake victim. I know, because that picture was too familiar to me. They used the same freaking pictures too for more than one psychological operation. Like in Kansas, they said this kid went down the water slide, and at first they acted like, oh, they don't know how he died or whatever. I think they injured his neck, and then later on, they're like, oh, he was, well, at first they said they broke his neck, and then they're like, oh, well, we don't know how he died. Well, if he broke his neck, you fucking know how he died, you know? And then like 2 days later, they said he was decapitated. But anyway, there's just a lot of bullshit. And then they said the father was like a Kansas politician or whatever. So yeah, sounds like to me, he made up this scam so he can get billions of dollars out of the insurance company. That was a fucking psychological operation too. And especially if it's gonna make national news and international news. But all this shit, I mean, there's a few things on the local news that aren't, but everything's a freaking psychological operation, and it's just obvious. So there were a few people that knew that on the David Icke forums that could see through all the bullshit and see through the matrix, but very, 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 very few. And they could spot, you know, reptiles like me and Maxine. But, yeah, I mean, like that airplane event, that was all bullshit. What was that called? I forgot. That airplane where it looked like they just dumped a bunch of trash down the hill. Oh, what was that called? I forgot. That, I mean, that all is, but they just preach on like, oh my God, yeah, they said he had psychological problems, and it's just all made up bullshit. But none of those people on the David Icke forum see that, except for very, very, very few people. Very, 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 very few people. So I doubt there is really any forums out there for truly illuminated people. You know what I'm saying? Very, very few. Okay, and yeah, and another thing too, I became, oh yeah, and like Alex Jones sat there and, well see, somehow I knew that was bullshit, and he just kept preaching on like it wasn't. That young guy that looked gay in California that blew up a lot of people or shot a lot of people. Well, anyway, I realized that Alex Jones was full of shit when I got back from England in 2014. And a guy told me he was full of shit when I was in England at the Crop Circle tour. He told me. And I was just like, what? Because it really confused me. I'm like, what? Because I really thought he was for real. He had me duped for about a year or a tad bit longer, Alex Jones did. And then also, if you notice on the David Icke forums, if you talk shit about Alex Jones, they will delete the thread and delete all the comments. But I didn't figure that out till after I was already kicked off. Because I think, let's see. I mean, no, I figured that out a few months before then, and I tried to tell people, you know, I think he's full of shit. I don't think he's for real. And then it was after I got kicked off, that's when I really realized he really is not for real. You know, Alex Jones. But if you talk shit, yeah, I've noticed that even before I realized that Alex Jones was full of shit on the forums. If people would open up threads and dog him about Alex Jones, yeah, they'll delete them. Because David Icke Alex Jones has him duped big time, because I think David Icke, he thinks he's for real and he's not. I knew from the get-go before I even started listening to him, the first second I started listening to him, he said he was 39 when I was 41. I'm like, no way in hell, this dude is 39. And he's not, he's like 55. And yeah, he's full of shit. And I knew he was full of shit because when I got back from England, I knew that Ferguson event, I guess the aliens woke me up to the fact that, hey, wait, this is bullshit. And I knew it was bullshit, this Ferguson event. And then I listened to Alex Jones and I didn't understand why he just kept preaching on like it was for real and like it really happened. And I'm like, whoa, this isn't adding up that he's going to sit there and preach on. And then I started thinking about that California event where, you know, Alex Jones kept preaching on like, oh no, they said he used a gun, but I think he used a knife. And I mean, if he was for real, if he wasn't controlled by the Illuminati or whatever, he would sit there and preach about what a psychological operation it was. He wouldn't sit there and act like it was a real event when it wasn't. And he does that over and over again. The only thing he acknowledges are the very, very, very mainstream psychological events, like that stupid Sandy Snook. That one he acknowledges. But that's the only one. And another thing David Icke is not enlightened to is that he's not enlightened about the 9/11 event, which I wasn't either till several months ago. How, you know, in his book he says it was a controlled demolition. Well, of course, that's what I heard, that's what I believe. And then I heard this one lady, I can't think of her name right now, with long brown stringy hair. She was saying how, okay, where the hell is the debris? And I remember thinking in the back of my head, right off the bat, I was thinking that myself. Where's all the debris? But they said that they cleaned it up really, really, really fast. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, how the hell did they clean up all that debris so fast? And because that's what they said, you know, that they cleaned it up. But I was thinking, how the hell did they do that fast in like 3 or 4 days? You know, they were showing pictures and it was like there was no debris anywhere. Well, yeah, that was due to the aliens, I have no doubt. Humans and aliens. Humans practicing black magic or whatever. I have no doubt that was aliens that did that. And that woman, she called it dustification. How the debris freaking dissipated in the it turned to dust in midair. It didn't even hit the ground, all the debris. And I always knew that the airplane didn't. Well, I don't know what David Icke says about the airplane, if the airplane actually hit the building, but you can tell that was just a hologram. I was even talking to this guy at Barnes & Nobles, and he was like, well, if you look at it, it looks like sticking a knife into like an apple. And I was like, yeah, I know. I don't believe that for a second that an airplane hit the building. To me, that looked too fake, like a knife just sticking inside an apple. Yeah, he's also freaking being stalked. This is so bizarre. Because I've only talked to him a couple times, like a year ago and then now, and then he tells me in May he's being freaking stalked by government agents. And he don't know shit about the aliens, but see, he's illuminated, and somehow the government agents know that. And I think they know that he's about to become awakened to his aliens in his life. I think somehow they know that. And I know he kind of is because he told me about how he saw some UFOs over a year ago, but yeah, I'm not going to really hang out with him or talk to him because he's kind of a pervert, and my sister thinks he's a stalker, so. But yeah, I don't know, he's just kind of inappropriate, but he would be a good friend if he wasn't a pervert, but. So anyway, yeah, so that's kind of bizarre, but yeah, I agreed with him there, you know, because whenever I saw the airplane hit the building, I mean, it looks like it's just a knife going inside an apple. So that was just a hologram. And besides, if the government tells you that's what happened, it did not happen. So yeah, no debris hit the ground and no airplane hit the building. But I know David Icke thinks that it was a controlled demolition and he thinks all the debris hit the ground. I don't know what he thinks about the airplane going into the building. I haven't read his books. I read one book, but I haven't read it in detail about 911 or whatever. But yeah, David Icke is not enlightened about Alex Jones, and he's not enlightened about 911. I guess he's never heard of that woman. I can't think of her name. She has long, stringy, brown hair. She's a engineer of some sort. But yeah, so anyway, so if you get on the David Icke forums and talk about how you hump the reptilians, then you will get kicked off. And if you talk shit about Alex Jones, you will get kicked off. And like I say, I really don't think there's any forums out there for truly illuminated people, enlightened people, awakened people. I really do not think so. And so that's why people just need to start their own shit, their own website, and their own videos or whatever. But another thing I was gonna say, I was gonna say something else. Something about. Oh, well, too, and it never seems to amaze me, some of these people that are like, you can tell they're sort of enlightened, but apparently they're not enlightened about the Matrix, because it amazes me how some of these people are enlightened, but they're still like slaves to the Matrix, you know? Like that guy at Barnes & Nobles, like, he tried to hit on my sister, and then he tries to hit on me, and I'm thinking, you dumbass, don't you know true love does not exist in this dimension? Well, yeah, fucking does. I mean, sex does. That exists. But I mean, if you're truly enlightened, you would know your motherfucking, you know, soulmates do not exist in this dimension. I'm sorry, but they don't. Even Sylvia Brown knew that. She was right about that. So thank you very much. Have a good day.